Hi guys and welcome to another FIFA 23 video. So it is Friday and EA have given us the 88 Player of the Month, Marcus Rashford. I think this is back-to-back Player of the Months now for him and a total of 3 Player of the Months in FIFA 23. Now, if you completed the 87, is there any incentive to go for the 88? Is there that much of an increase in terms of stats? Well, I'll talk about that a little bit in a second. First of all, 5 segments to this card. He now has the same rating joint of his World Cup Stories cards. So we'll talk about in a second whether, you know, it's worth kind of going for this SBC version or going and buying the World Cup Stories cards off the market. I know obviously some people might have lots of fodder to go and do this version and they mightn't have the coins to go and buy the World Cup Stories cards, but I've already had a look at the 2 cards and there's something quite interesting that I do want to point out in a second. It's not cheap, the SBC. It's an 83, then an 84 with Team of the Week, then jumps to an 86, an 87 with another Team of the Week needed in that as well. That's going to make that one a lot more expensive with the fact that you need... I know Team of the Weeks have been bumped up recently, so there's a lot more availability in terms of Team of the Weeks, like higher rated ones that you can get. Still quite a lot. And then an 88 rated squad on top of that. I reckon, on first glance, that might be coming in at around 500,000 coins. Let me quickly go into Futbin and just see if EA... or Futbin have given any quick price estimation for the cards. They're saying 1.2 million coins. That cannot be correct. But I reckon it will come in at about, I'd say, 500,000 coins. It is quite a lot. However, at the same time, it is a nice card. The 5-star Scumwas are obviously very good. The 3-star weak foot is a little bit underwhelming, and that's the thing. Do you want to spend potentially 500,000 coins on an attacker? Because that's what he is, because you can play him as a striker, and a lot of people will consider using him as a striker. It seems a lot of coins if you have to go and buy other players, or a lot of fodder that you already have in your club to get an attack of only 3-star weak foot. You know, it's post Team of the Year now. We're like a good couple months after Team of the Year. The power curve of players is going up. I just don't know how a 3-star weak footed striker would play at this stage of the game. To be quite honest with you, I think it's just a little bit underwhelming, that. And that's why we'll talk about his World Cup Stories card in a second, because there is something interesting to mention with that. You can obviously continue to use him on the left wing at the same time. His pace is nice. That 99 shot power is brilliant. After that, his shooting stats are okay, but you would want to maybe bump up the long shots, positioning and finishing for a striker if you were to use him in that position. I know I certainly would. His passing is fine. His dribbling is good. You know, his balance is starting to get up there a little bit now as well. Same with his composure. Physicalities are nice no matter where you use him. The flair player trace is nice. It's a shame that he doesn't have the outside foot shots or the finesse shot, but ultimately not too bad. A few things to mention. We have the World Cup Stories cards. That is the same rating as the Player of the Month. Now, the World Cup Stories cards is selling... It's actually just gone up in price. That's interesting. That is interesting. I don't know why loads of them have all of a sudden been bought. And I think it's because of the fact... There were a lot of people when it was kind of obvious that Rashford was going to win this Player of the Month because he's been better than anyone else in the league since basically 2023. He's been by far the league's best player. We all knew he was going to win Player of the Month. A few people were thinking that the 88 Player of the Month could have potentially maybe even been an 89 rating, so surpassed the rating for this one. It hasn't. They've kept the same rating as the World Cup Stories one. Now, what I will point out is the Player of the Month has got 1 more pace, 1 more dribbling, 1 more shooting. I think the Player of the Month has got 2 less defending. Doesn't really matter. And has got 1 more physicality and 2 more passing than the World Cup cards. The interesting thing about the World Cup card is they have the same player traits. They can both play all in the exact same positions. But the main thing is the World Cup Stories card has got 4-star weak foot. And that's a big difference. And because there were a few people thinking that his World Cup Stories card was now not going to be the best Rashford, and people were thinking that they might give a weak foot upgrade to the Player of the Month, or that they might make the Player of the Month an 89 rated, the fact that they've done neither, it's actually increased the price on the World Cup Stories cards. He was selling for just under 700,000 coins before. You can't pick him up now any cheaper than 760. I don't know what will happen to his price over the next few days, but that is interesting to kind of see what people initially think of it. Now, if we quickly go into the concepts, I'll quickly just show you that as proof for the Rashford card. So, if you've already got the 87 Player of the Month, I'd stick. Because I'm sure that one was a lot better value for money than this 88 rated Player of the Month, which, don't get me wrong, is a good card. But is it really worth all that fodder for an attacker that's got 3-star weak foot? I don't think it is. You know, you look at that Gory card, for example, from Ren. I think he had 5-star skills. He had 3-star weak foot as well, but he was a free card with the chance for upgrades. He's in my team right now, actually. I'm sure he's got 5-star skills. Okay, he's got 4-star skills, but he will end up being better than Rashford. He's got better player traits than him already. And he has the chance to get further traits if Ren, you know, pick up the wins and stuff. And he's got the chance to comfortably go up to an 89 rated, almost guaranteed. And that was a free card. And so you just have to put it into perspective. It is that kind of premium price being put on the Premier League players. But there's the differences between the World Cup stars and the Player of the Month. So the Player of the Month, as you can see, has got a few increases by +1s and overall stats. But it's not that much of an increase. I would much rather have the Rashford with 4-star weak foots than 3-star. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's an okay card. I think it's too overpriced. The 87 is still good enough, and I'm sure it was a much better price when it came out than what the 88 one is. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.